There's one phrase every IELTS student knows, and that's I'm sick or I was sick. But there's one problem with that. If that is the only thing you're saying, you're not showing the range, the lexical resource, and the precision to get a band 7 or higher on the IELTS speaking test. So in this video, I'm going to show you some more natural, expressive ways to talk about sickness and illness. If you don't know, my name is Kevin. I'm a current IELTS speaking teacher and a former IELTS examiner. So let's get started. To begin with, most native speakers wouldn't say, I'm sick. For example, I am sick right now. But I'm not going to say that. I would say something like, I'm feeling a little unwell today. Or, I'm not feeling well. An idiomatic phrase that is used quite commonly is, I'm a little under the weather today. I know I normally tell you to stay away from the crazy sounding idioms, but here, this is something that I say quite a bit. Another idiomatic phrase we use is, I've come down with something, or I came down with something. Of course, you didn't come down with anything, but idiomatically, we know it means you're sick or you're not feeling well. And the final idiomatic phrase is, I've caught a bug. Bug, of course, means those little germs that make us sick. You didn't actually catch one, but idiomatically, if you say you've caught a bug, I know it means you're not feeling well. Now remember, of course, for your grammar, all of these will need to be conjugated properly. So if you're telling a story in your part 2, usually we are talking about the past tense. You could say, I had caught a bug. I was feeling under the weather. If you don't do that, it's going to be a grammar error. And also, it's going to lead to confusion on the part of your listener. And that can really affect your score because it goes to fluency and coherence as well. Look at how we can use this in an actual IELTS question. For example, if we're talking about health in part 1, we could say something like, actually, I was feeling under the weather last week, so I took a few days to rest. That sounds very natural, and it sounds much more precise than I was sick. Why? Well, maybe you weren't sick. You didn't have a cold or a flu or allergies like I have right now, but you just didn't feel well. Okay, so saying under the weather is more precise in that matter. All of these phrases are very natural. They help you sound confident, they help you sound precise, and they help you sound fluent. Even if you're using I was sick or I am sick, remember, we're looking at the range of vocabulary you use and the preciseness or precision of the vocabulary you use. So you want to change and mix it up as you answer your question. Let's put on the screen some words and phrases that we can use to discuss symptoms. Symptoms are the things that let you know you are sick. For example, you might have a temperature. It is a symptom of a cold or flu. For example, I had a high fever. It means your body temperature is above normal. You could also say idiomatically, I was running a temperature, or I was running a temp. My throat was really sore. Sore is a common word we use to describe throat. I had the chills. If you have a fever and you're shaking a lot, you can't get warm, we call those the chills. And I had a splitting headache. Splitting is a good idiomatic adjective for headache. Of course, your brain is not splitting in two, but splitting headache is a common collocation to describe headaches and head pain. So for example, how would we use these? Well, in a part 2 IELTS question, the statement might be something like this. About a month ago, I got really sick. I had a fever, a sore throat, and a splitting headache. I couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. Again, we have clear, descriptive vocabulary that is very precise. Also, you are not reusing words. This is a great example sentence for a high-level answer. I know everyone loves idioms, and I previously gave you some, but here are some other idioms that we use to talk about our health. Some are a bit crazy, but they're pretty common. For example, I was completely out of it. Meaning you're very sick, you don't know what's going on, you're confused. Oh, I was completely out of it. I felt so bad. Idiomatic, pretty common. This is a good one. I felt like death warmed over. Meaning you were really sick. If you feel like death warmed over, it means you're doing pretty poorly. Again, it's very extreme. You wouldn't say, I felt like death warmed over if you had a cold. But if you had a bad case of the flu, well, then yes, maybe feeling like death warmed over is appropriate. Two idioms for when you're feeling better is that I am on the mend or I was on the mend, meaning you're getting better. Mending is something we do to clothing to bring it back together. We mend a tear. So it's idiomatic in that respect. And the other idiom is back on my feet. I was sick in bed for 2 days, but now I'm back on my feet and ready to get back to school. It means we've fully recovered. Finally, how do you let your boss or your teacher know that you're sick? You call in sick, to take a sick day. Two phrases there. Call in sick and take a sick day. If you can't go to work, you can't go to school, you must take a sick day. The act of letting people know, even if you just send a text or an email, is calling in sick. So an exercise for this video is to record yourself talking about a time that you were sick. Try and use some of the new vocabulary and some of the idioms that I just taught you. Remember, the extreme idioms are not usually stacked together, right? They are extreme, so one is enough. So make that video, record yourself, listen back, and check yourself. Check your fluency, check your word use. Check your grammar, check your pronunciation. How did you do? If you're not sure how to use some of these words or idioms or phrases, or have some other ones that you want to ask about, leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to follow up with you. As always, leave me a like and subscribe. I hope you are feeling well, and until next time, happy studies.